The question of the day is Nucken or Schutzen. I am referring to the play from quite early in the manuscript, which is about the opponent doing a rebind on me. I am reacting by doing mutate obladi, and now the question is, what should I do next? And the manuscript is talking about two options. First option is Nucken, which is like a strike between the sword and shield. This is the option that the priest favors. It is the technique that he advises to do, and this technique is kind of described. We have images of the defense against this technique, so it is pretty much obvious that Nucken is really this kind of strike between the sword and shield. So that's the first option. But there is also the second option. The manuscript says that common fencers sometimes in this situation do Schutzen. And now, what is Schutzen? I have already talked about it. I have interpreted Schutzen as a basic parry. So the first question would be, which kind of Schutzen will this action use? And I believe it is this Schutzen, sort of low hanging guard on the right side. This type of Schutzen is the one that the play uses. The next question is, if Schutzen is a parry, there should be an attack that I'm parrying, shouldn't it? Well, in fact, not necessarily, because even though Schutzen, in my opinion, started as a dedicated defensive, simple defensive tool, in the times of the priest it was already used like for many different purposes, and we can see this in 133 manual. So Schutzen does not necessarily have to be used against some kind of attack, and it can be used for a different purpose just because of the properties that the action, the move or the position has. So I believe the whole action here is about this. The opponent is doing mutate obladi, rebind, I am doing mutate obladi, or we can get into the same situation if I am the one who does the rebind on my opponent. We will end in the same situation. And after this, I will move into a Schutzen position, like this. So the action of using Schutzen here is about bringing the opponent's sword on the other side of my body. It would look like this. So the whole action is about, if I start with my rebind, it is about taking the bind, doing a rebind on my opponent and bringing the opponent's sword to the other side. Now, why would I do it? I can think of two reasons. First reason would be if I am afraid of my opponent going for my leg. Because theoretically, if I am doing the rebind on my opponent and I am bringing his sword down, he can use this position to attack my leg, like this. And if I am afraid of this possibility, I may want to retain the bind and bring the opponent's sword, to be sure that he won't do it. I will bring the opponent's sword to the other side while feeling his sword for the whole time. So I feel where the sword is, and I am not giving it the opportunity to strike my leg. And I am bringing the sword where it won't be able to do this kind of attack anymore. So this is one possible reason. And the second possible reason is that I want to reach the situation that is a trigger for my stichslack. Because if I bring the opponent's sword down and to the other side, I end up binding below his sword and on my right. So the opponent is reaching with his sword hand across his body. So this elbow is exposed. And for this situation, the correct solution, also according to the priest, is to pin the opponent's hand at his body and then do a stichslack, like thrust below the shield. So at the very beginning, when we stand like this, I may already think of doing stichslack, and I am working towards the position from which I can do stichslack now. So this would be like a technique that builds the position for the stichslack that will succeed in the end. Before I have interpreted the play that we are talking about in this way, I have already successfully pulled off this technique several times in sparring, and always it seemed like perfectly technical to me, because it is like at this point when I am already have the opportunity for the rebind, I already know that I want to end in the stichslack. So at this point I am already going for the stichslack, and I am working there and doing this stichslack. So I have like the great feeling that I know what will happen 2 steps ahead. And if I pulled it off successfully, I felt very proud about myself. And it looked like cool and was perfect. Only until then I have interpreted this play in this way, and I have found out that the priest would probably frown upon this technique. So we may ask, why does the priest not recommend this technique? Why would he do something different? Because at the first glance it looks exactly up the priest's alley, because there is this systematic work towards the advantageous position. That is something that we know from the priest's techniques like shield slack and so on. So that is something that the priest does. And there is also the idea of always keeping the control of the opponent's sword, because as I am doing my technique, during the rebind I am taking the control of the opponent's sword. I am doing my rebind, and I don't lose the control because I am controlling him all the time. Only after here I will do my stichslack, and again I am taking the control and attack. So it seems that I am keeping the control for the whole time, and that is again something that the priest likes. So why would he not like this kind of technique? And I believe this is because of the switch of the type of the bind. Because at the very beginning I am taking the bind, I am doing my rebind, and I am binding above the opponent's sword. And this is something that the priest considers safe. In 133, many times the priest says that binding above is safe, and whenever I can, I should be binding above. I should be binding below only if I can't get the bind above. So the binding above is good and it is safe according to the priest. But if I am doing my Schutzen like action, I am switching from binding above here into this position, which is in fact me binding below. And position of binding below is dangerous for me. So even if it looks like that I am keeping the control for all the time, in fact I am not, because here I am in control and I am using this control to switch into the position where I am losing the control, because now I am binding below and the opponent has free way to attack my head. If I am in this position, then doing stichslack is okay. That is the priest's technique, priest's recommended technique. So the stichslack is absolutely okay. But there is the problem that I am intentionally switching from binding above into binding below. and thus giving the opponent opportunity to do some surprising strike to my head. I should add one more thing, and that is that Nucken is a counter to stichslack. This is not exactly obvious from 133 because all the plays in 133 that are using stichslack are like ending with the stichslack. So stichslack seems like the final ultimate action that kills everybody and finishes the fight and everything. But in fact it is not, and the manuscript is giving to us very early a counter to the stichslack, and that is Nucken. Why does it work? Well, the whole action, both of these actions start from the same position. It is the position that when I am binding above and on the left, and the opponent is binding below and on the right. And here, for me, this is a trigger for Nucken, and for the opponent, this is a trigger for stichslack, like this. And the observation is that the stichslack works in two steps. It is first the strike with the shield, and then the thrust. While Nucken is just one simple cut. So it means that Nucken will always be faster than stichslack. And the property of stichslack is that when the opponent starts doing stichslack, he is moving his shield separately because he wants to pin my hand. So he intentionally creates, separates the weapons. And this is creating the gap that I can exploit with my Nucken. So if we get into this position and we both do our action at the same time, I will win because I am faster and the opponent is creating the gap that I am exploiting. And the more the opponent wants to be fast, the more he wants to kill me, the larger gap he will create. So if he is very fast, I have the largest opening ever here. So the Nucken is a perfect, I don't know if perfect, but really good counter for stichslack because of the properties of stichslack. And in fact, if the opponent after this situation doesn't want to get hit by my Nucken, the best thing he may do is not to do anything, because if he keeps his sword and shield together, I can still do my Nucken, but I have to fit in the small gap here between the sword and shield. And this is not easy. It is possible, but I have to align my blade really well to slide between the weapons. And I have to do it like forcefully to break through. But it is like a hard thing to do. So if the opponent wants to not get hit by Nucken, he may keep his sword and shield together. So for me it will be hard to get there. But it also means that if I am doing Nucken, I am safe from the counterattack of the opponent, because he can't do stichslack if I am doing Nucken. So maybe the priest is using Nucken also like a prevention against the opponent's stichslack. Because whenever I am doing Nucken, I am safe from the opponent's stichslack. So this was like a small observation, and well, that's it for today.